historically, I have seen myself as a man of the left. However, I think since 2020, these traditional left-right distinctions have ceased to be particularly helpful. So I found in 2020 that I lost a lot of respect for left-wing commentators whom I'd previously admired. And I found that a lot of the people talking most sense, to my great surprise, were actually right-wing commentators. And then, as I've written a Substack article about called "Resistance and Faith," many of those figures also turned out to be Christian. Very, very interesting observation to me. So I think that because democracy is breaking down and is under attack, and because party politics is becoming increasingly theatrical, increasingly a distraction, it's not actually that helpful anymore to talk about left versus right. The real battle here is kind of up versus down. It's a revolution from above, which the powers that be are trying to institute. They call it the Great Reset. Essentially, it's an attempt to remake the whole of society, politics, economics, etc., from the top down to suit the interests of the ruling class. If they are successful in that, I contend that the result will be a biodigital slavery system, a global technocracy. And then, therefore, what is required to stop that, in my view, is a social revolution, a revolution from below, to overthrow this deep state power structure that is seeking to oppress us. Now, to come to your second question about is there a diagram of the resistance? I kind of wish they were. And one of the problems that we face is what I call the three camps of awareness. This all has to do with perception management. So, very briefly, camp one is mainstream narratives and all of the things that politicians and the media try to persuade us of. Typically full of lies, indeed big lies, but nevertheless, most of the population swallows the lies because they've been heavily propagandized and indoctrinated for their entire lives. Camp two is for those who have doubts about camp one. They realize that there's something very badly wrong. So, maybe you realize that it's impossible for two planes to destroy three towers on 9/11, or you realize that there's something really badly off about the lockdowns, and you start asking some critical questions, and you actually leave camp one, which is a difficult thing to do because it requires you to jettison a whole host of assumptions that you've developed over the course of your life about the strength of liberal democracy and the inherent virtue of Western civilization and all of these kind of things. But if you make it into camp two, there you are met, in my opinion, by a battalion of fake dissidents and fake heroes who have been placed there to win your trust and ultimately mislead you or take you down avenues which won't lead anywhere useful in terms of resistance. These actors are typically identifiable by the fact that they've not been banned from, say, YouTube and Facebook. They have very large followings, and there are certain topics that they will refuse to address. And finally, camp three is the truth, and it's a very hard place to get to because you've got to get out of camp two and into camp three, and it's also a very ugly place to be. Because when you see how power is really working in the world, it's very frightening and psychologically very difficult to accept. So there are various barriers for people getting there, and of course, particularly online, algorithms can be used to manipulate perception so that those in camp one are only really exposed to the mainstream ideas and they stay in camp one. Those in camp two are mostly exposed to the camp two ideas and they stay in camp two. Those in camp three, they have their voices throttled. They don't have major platforms. They have very low numbers of followers. They have what Linda Yaccarino calls freedom of speech, but not reach.
If you liked this video, check out the full interview. Also, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you get notified every time a new video is uploaded. Thanks for watching.